Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, IBM, UPS, Apple, Intel, Exxon, Cat is a good one too. So lots of action going on. That means more volatility in the markets. And obviously, we just came off of Monday, right, where we opened in the markets. We got the deep seek news, the Chinese AI news, which mainly impacted stocks like Nvidia. Nvidia is the largest stock in the S&P 500, so of course it's going to go down with it. What I found was interesting though is that on that day, on Monday, Meta did gap down in the pre-market, but actually had a huge move to the upside and made all-time highs once again. And so when that happened, I didn't find, I think it, 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 it reminded me of many situations in the market where you sort of get a big headline and it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. When I saw Meta hit another all-time high, I was like, okay, it's not like the world is over for AI in America. This it might just be a small minor setback, and so it's not really a big deal. Meta is obviously very invested in the AI space. They're starting construction of a data center in the Midwest that is like a third the size of Manhattan. Llama 3 is super useful, supposedly. And Zuck is really doing a good job. He seems to be in his prime there. So I wasn't really concerned about that headline. And so there were a lot of good opportunities in the market. I took trades on Nvidia. We're going to talk about what I did wrong, what I did right. I did have a profitable day today. Nvidia had a big gap down. Nvidia is a great company fundamentally. Before we get into that trade, I just want to say, BA, I was watching as well. BA had a nice move up. I thought above 185. It was kind of, for a bit, it was going back and forth here and consolidating. I thought, eventually, if it got above 185, it would make a move higher, and it did. It did move, to 187, 188.4, and then ended up coming back down. I never traded BA. Not that good at trading BA in the past. So yeah, didn't end up touching that. LMT had a big sell-off day. Couldn't find an opportunity to trade that, so I didn't. And the other one was GM. GM actually did have a good opportunity, in my opinion, although it was very small and it was more of a scalp. And it fits into my playbook uh, of the long shark. So the long shark is when I'm looking for a really fast move into support, right? I'm looking for some sort of overextension to the downside and a fast move into support at some sort of psychological price level, and find a quick buyer, right? And mainly what I'm doing is I'm taking advantage of the premium on the contracts, because when this opened up on GM 51 and made a really quick dip into 49.5, right? That obviously happened in let's say a minute or so. This move from 49.5 right back up to 50.32, believe it or not, like that's, if you call it that 75 cents, which is very hard to pinpoint exactly and catch that. Um, but actually the contracts moved from about $90 each to 150, and so you're getting a pretty big move, right? That's like 75%, like 70% move to the upside, um, including commissions and fees and stuff like that. And if you would have held out a little better, oh my gosh, and it held out to the opening print, which is something that I would have targeted. You actually would have got a good move. It would have been a pretty decent scalp. If you kind of zoom out, I felt like it made sense to me. Um, this isn't like a crazy volatile stock. So when it makes moves down, it makes moves up, it usually mean reverts, right? And it's not gonna do anything super crazy. I did think that, the earnings report wasn't terrible. There wasn't any like horrible headline attached or anything like that. Um, I'm not saying GM is a top performing company in any respect whatsoever, but quick moves, could be bought, right? And so I did miss that, but I wasn't really upset about it. I wasn't really that upset about it. It wasn't. It really wasn't an A plus setup. I'd consider it more of like a B setup. And so going into the trades that I took today, I only traded Nvidia. And so we'll go to Nvidia. We'll actually pull up my trades from today. So first trade on Nvidia, I had took a total of three, made 90% on the first, 33% on the last, lost 6% on the second. Um, and it was a good day. I'll tell you, I did make some mistakes. I did do some things wrong. Um, and so on the video, like right out the gate, we had to move down, right? And obviously on the daily time frame, like we were pushing down. I did think that there was a possibility of getting into somewhere between 100 and 110, just because there was a lot of news around Nvidia. It was an active play, right? This goes into my active play playbook, right? And so the active plays, there's elevated volume, there's a lot of attention, there's a news catalyst, popular stock, right? Everybody had their eyes on Nvidia. With the DeepSync AI news, um, they had their eyes on Nvidia. Um, but fundamentally, I felt like it made a really big move down from almost $150 all the way down to 117 overnight and into Monday. And a company like this that is number one in the world, number one, in the SPY, and has excellent P&Ls to go with it, right? I just felt, fundamentally like this was a good buy opportunity, not only as a trade, but as an investment as well. And so I always love to have the fundamentals on my side when I'm making trading decisions, right? What's the point of going long crappy companies when you could go long, you could wait for opportunities to go long on really good companies? And same thing, like why would I short a great company like Nvidia when I could short like shell companies like DJT or companies that are extremely unprofitable like IONQ, right? And so um, I saw the long opportunity. But I also saw the short opportunity. Right? I did understand that. Look, there's a lot of eyes on this. There's maybe a lot of people panic selling. This could make a move lower. But so I was really hands off in the beginning of the day. It was a top watch along with the other three earnings names, but I was really hands off until this dip right here. I love this setup right here. This I actually learned from Jake Ricci. This is the 1-2 setup, and I was targeting the opening print, which was right here. Um, and the reason why I didn't buy this dip, when this dip happened, and it immediately found buyers and it made this big move up here from 116 all the way above 120. From there, in my mind, I was like, I've been here, I've seen this, done this. This is like me as an experienced trader, like recognizing that this is a total fake out breakdown, right? It came down, it had a big sell off in the beginning of the day, and it got below yesterday's low on Monday at 116, 116.70, but barely. It hit 116.3, found a fast buyer, moved all the way up to 120.56. And from there, I basically, in my mind, I'm thinking, there is a very low probability, and especially because the SPY was really ripping, like the SPY got above the opening print and was making big moves along with the Qs. The Qs were a lot stronger than the SPY actually. Um, and so I was thinking in my mind, yeah, there is a low probability that we made this big move up and that this rally is going to fade and come down and take out 160. And if you really just zoom out, I feel like there's no reason to short here, right? Like, why are you shorting now? We're at these levels at 120. We just went down from 150, and you deciding that you want to short now, you're missing the move. And so the bull case was definitely there today. Let's go ahead and hop into some of my executions, what I did wrong, what I did right. Today, I think I had some really solid entries on Nvidia. Very surgical. points where I was buying in. I was being super patient, and I love that because I never get to see an inch of drawdown. I believe all of my positions I went in today did not see any drawdown. I had bought on this candle here. We're looking at 2 minute. Here's a 1 minute. So I bought literally right on this candle in the first trade. I bought 3 contracts here. My reasoning behind buying there was that, let me pull up, let's get surgical, really smaller time frame here. We had this pullback to this breakout zone to the upside where we reclaim 120, and I felt, you know what? There's a good shot that we're going to come and we're going to retest 120, and so that was where the first trim was at 120, right here. And then I had another trim up here at 121, which was the breakdown of today. And then I had another at the opening print here. And one thing that I really like about, maybe trading later in the week is that you do get a lot more bang for your buck on the contracts, and the premium's a lot less. And so for a trader like me, I do like to trim along the way because these are actual like real legitimate caution places. And like I was saying before, the indexes, the SPY and the Qs were moving very strong. And I was considering taking a trade on that, and I would have actually got a way better return by trading the indexes. And they made a much bigger move and were a lot stronger than Nvidia. Nvidia still kind of had that lag from the previous day's general weakness in comparison to the larger Mag 7 names and the SPY as a whole, and the Qs. The Qs were performing even better, which was than the SPY in the beginning of the day, which was another thing that was, um, it was a positive variable, right, to my plan and equation that I was putting together. And so I bought into here, I bought into 119, and I thought that we were going to come back and we were going to retest 120, retest this high a day, make a move to the opening print. I thought there was a good chance there, and I trimmed along the way. If I would have more contracts, I would have held more to the opening print. That was the original plan. And a lot of times, like they say, you're in a boxing match, you think you have a plan until you get punched in the face and then everything changes, right? On a professional level, we need to stick to the plan when the pressure is on. When you have capital at risk, right, and the pressure is on, you need to stick to your plan. And honestly, I said I was going to hold to the opening print, and I felt very good about it getting there. And so I only had 3 contracts, and I felt like, I should have held at least one more higher to the OP and made another $120 on this play. I would be a 320 play. I took a second trade on it, which I got out very early. Took a very small cut, I think the contracts went down 6%. I bought into this dip here. After, made this move and I was selling on this into the OP, it only became more and more um, understanding that the upside direction was probably going to happen. It was more likely we were going to continue upwards. At this point, the indexes have made a very big move to the upside. And the Nvidia, we reclaimed the opening print, came back down, and by the time we made this huge move up, the chances of once again coming back to the probability of taking out this low were so substantially small that it just made sense to buy every dip. And so I bought this dip into 120. I kind of thought 120 is a psychological price level. We're going to hold it. We're going to move upwards on the day and actually make a bigger move. And that's not what happened. I thought, and so I had such a small risk. I said, below 120, I'm out. I ended up getting out as soon as we went below 120. And obviously, hindsight is always 2020. Like, it ended up rallying a lot more. But, I was positioned for that reason. That was my plan in the moment. And that's what happened, right? And I'm happy about it. I'm okay with it. I'll take a little small cut as long as I'm making much bigger moves. And so Interesting trade. Um, it ended up reclaiming, and that only once again continued to boost my confidence that this was going to be a long play on the day and that we were going to take out the pre-market highs and break out. And so we see on the third trade where I kind of made a little mistake. I was running out of buying power too, and I keep a small account for purposeful reasons because trading is extremely difficult, and you just want to make it to the next day as a trader. If you're not, you have to build up, the account size and withdraw every week. Like I withdraw every single week because there's no reason to like lay that capital there, right? Risk what you're comfortable with. And so coming to Nvidia, sorry for that little tangent. Coming back to Nvidia, this play, um, I want to get exactly where I got in and out because TradeZella doesn't always show good. Um, so I got out around 123.5, which I thought was very early. I got in down here at 121 and had an excellent surgical entry. I love when this happens because the more the price keeps pushing up, the more bullish that I get to the upside. But people get trapped. They think that, oh my God, like every time you take out one of these highs, you're just going to go crazy. And so people buy into this and then they come down and they lose $1 and that's like a big move on their options and they get like scared out. I know I've been there before, and so I waited for the breakout. Breakout didn't happen immediately, came back down, and I said, you know what, this is a great risk point. I could risk, 120.6 at 121. That's 40 cents for potentially a move that takes out the pre-market highs, which was around 125. And I ended up selling early, like a little baby, and I didn't stick to my plan, and I'm actually really upset about this trade because I missed out on. I would have definitely been able to bring this. I sold it at 535. I definitely could have sold it at 735. Definitely could have sold it at 735. Definitely could have held it for the breakout of 125 and allowed it to happen. Didn't do that. Level to level move. This is the type of charts I love to see. And you get this during your active plays, right? This is an active play. You see my playbook here. Maybe my face is in the way. Um, Moves that have a lot of volume, a lot of eyes on them. Um, you know, Great companies, preferably the Mag 7, right? Tech stocks is what we do, baby. We're day traders. So those were my trades for the day. I'm gonna stop yapping. I'm gonna go relax, throw on like a movie, watch some Ozark or something. And peace out, guys. I hope you have a great night.